She maintained her innocence throughout her 8 long years in solitary confinement, and now a court has ruled she can walk free. Asia Bibi was convicted in 2010 of insulting the Prophet Muhammad during an argument with her neighbors. Her case has polarized Pakistan. On one side, hardliners. They want her hanged in accordance with the country's blasphemy laws. On the other side are Asia Bibi's supporters who say her jailing thwarts the rights of the country's Christian minority. The court on Wednesday made their verdict quickly, ruling that the prosecution failed to provide enough evidence and that her confession was made under duress. When she heard about her acquittal, she reacted with disbelief, saying, "Will they let me out? Really?" But many fear that she will never be safe. Let's go straight to the newsmaker's Shoaib Hasan now, who's in Karachi. Shoaib, help us understand how important this verdict is.
There have been other cases in which people accused of blasphemy in Pakistan, which is a very divisive topic here, have been found not guilty. But it's really Asia Bibi's case in recent years, in the last 10 years in fact, that has galvanized opinion on both sides of what's a divided population as far as the blasphemy law is concerned. Many of the people in Pakistan's rural and poorer sections of society and in the middle class believe that as far as they are concerned, she is guilty and she should have been punished. She should have gotten the death sentence, which she did in the lower courts. But most of Pakistan's liberal intellectuals and many of the legal community believe that Asia Bibi's case should have been, there are no grounds to in fact prosecute Asia Bibi, but they have held back on their opinion because people who have come out and said that she was in fact guilty, including most prominently Salman, the governor of Pakistan's, former governor of Pakistan's Punjab province. He was assassinated by his official bodyguard for airing such views in public. So it's been a divisive topic. People have been scared of voicing their opinions, but now the Supreme Court has come out. It said that in fact they believe that as far as they can see, Asia Bibi is not guilty. The evidence against her is circumstantial, that's what they said, and does not prove her guilt. But it's still not convinced most of the people who have been out on the streets now, most of the right-wing parties, and also a large section of Pakistan's population who feel that this is due to external pressure. This verdict that's been passed as far as she's not guilty. And it's really divided Pakistan. People have come out in the streets. As soon as the verdict was announced, schools were closed down, shops, shopping centers, businesses were closed. And where I'm sitting right now in the studio, a kilometer from here in one direction and a kilometer from here in another direction, small sit-ins are taking place, which have basically blocked traffic and life in Pakistan's largest city, Karachi, where I am right now. As across the country, the capital has been shut down, and as we just heard, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, has come out and said that such protests will not be tolerated, and such dissent against the state will not be tolerated. It's ironic, Khan himself was a part of such protests, anti-blasphemy protests, just about a year ago. And he said that, you know, this is something that's really about the identity of Pakistan, its Islamic identity. That's what a lot of people believe here, and that's why it's really divided the country at the moment. And most people that I've spoken to here say that this is far from over, and that they expect more violence, more protests, and much more as far as Asia Bibi's case is concerned to come in the next few days.
Okay, Shoaib Hasan, thanks so much for that update from Karachi. Let's bring in our panel now. Wilson Chowdhry joins me from London. He's the chairman of the British Pakistani Christian Association. And Salman Shadid is with us from Islamabad. He's an advocate and supports Pakistan's blasphemy laws. Let me start with you, Wilson. Is it a big day for you?
It's a wonderful day. Obviously, Pakistani Christians across the globe have been elated by the news that has emerged today. I know that there have been celebrations, and although they are tentative about the response by extremists in Pakistan, so far protests, but the threats of rioting and violence upon communities of Christians out there, they still wouldn't want Asia Bibi to remain a single further day in prison just for their own safety. They are pleased, they are extremely happy today.
Salman, many people are disappointed. Many people are angry that the conviction was overturned by the Supreme Court. Are you one of them?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a Muslim, and because the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is very sacred to me, like every single Muslim out there. But I want to add a few words, and I want to convey it to my brother
But hold on,
who is
just
on the
just
other
a second,
line.
Salman. Before you continue, right? The judge who also freed her is a Muslim, and quoted the Quran and Hadith in his verdict, or the three-panel three-panel group of judges. They quoted Quran and Hadith. They didn't say the blasphemy law was anti-Islamic. They didn't say the blasphemy law was wrong. They believed there wasn't enough evidence to convict her, and they felt that the charges against her were unfair. So just for that sense of clarity. Yes, but please continue.
Well, I consider it one-sided because when the lawyer who has filed this case against Asia Bibi, he was fighting this case in the Honorable Supreme Court. When he was quoting some verses from Quran, the Honorable Judge just interrupted him and he said, "We are following English law, so please don't quote the Islamic verses in it." What I was saying in first, I was just saying that in all over the world, a sketch is being drawn, and this hype is being promoted by some people that only Muslims' attitude is very harsh and at its extreme level regarding blasphemy. I want to convey a message to the rest of the world that it is not like that. Only in Islam the blasphemy is an offense that has zero tolerance level. But even in Christianity, it is a crime that is unforgivable.
Salman, I can't let you do this. No. We're talking about something very specific, right? So here's the thing. The Supreme Court, hold on. Every religion has extremism. Yes, I've heard this story before. Let's park that aside. Salman, give me a second here. We're very focused on a very specific case. Now, let me ask you very bluntly. Are you convinced that the woman is guilty?
Yeah, the evidence shows, and she has confessed her guilt before the superintendent of police. And there are a number of eyewitnesses that gave their testimony in the honorable court. And you tell me that in lower court, she was convicted she was convicted over there, and this honorable court says that the honorable lower courts couldn't convince them. What I was saying, I was just trying to make harmony among the communities. I was just saying that in the Gospel of Mark,
chapter 3, hold on, Salman, I'm sorry. I'm not going to let you quote the Bible here. I'm sorry, I just won't, because we're talking about a very specific case here about Asia Bibi. So let me then ask you. I'm not. We didn't invite you to quote the Bible and talk about blasphemy in Christianity. We're talking about a very specific case in Pakistan. Hold on, Salman.
The blasphemy is not only.
Fair enough. Blasphemy is not only in Islam. Fair enough. Okay. Now, Salman, allow me to ask you a question. Salman, we didn't invite you here to quote the Bible about whether blasphemy is punishable in Christianity. Now, I'm asking you a very basic question. You mentioned an honorable court. I ask you very directly. Is the Supreme Court of Pakistan not the most honorable court in the country? And if they deem that there wasn't enough evidence against someone on death row and they want to free that person, doesn't that mean justice has been served?
This is what you have depicted from this decision, from this judgment. What I am telling you, you are not letting me tell.
Because you're quoting the Bible about blasphemy in other religions. That is deflecting, sir. That's not answering the question, not talking about the issue.
It's not deflecting. It's not deflecting. It is. I'm just trying to explain that blasphemy is an offense even in Christianity. It is not like that. It is an offense only in Islam, because the people that are living over here, 22 crore people that are living over here in Pakistan, you are talking about them, that many people are not happy with this this judgment. I'm just trying to explain that even it would have happened in any Christian world, then the direction would be the same.
Can you give me a
That
country?
is that we are facing over here.
Okay, fine. Okay, let's play this game you want to play. Can you give me a country where somebody might have insulted Christianity and might be justified for being executed? Name me a country. I'll wait.
Until 2008, I guess,
Name me a country.
blasphemy was a crime even in England. If
Okay,
you
in
check
England.
There,
Okay, somebody would have been
even
executed for blasphemy in
2008.
England. Okay, let me go to Wilson Chowdhry because I'm sorry, Salman. I hate doing this on the program, but I'm going to ask my producer and my executive producer who are listening here if I can no longer come to you because I think this is a waste of everybody's time. I really do. I'm sorry that you came onto this program thinking this conversation was going to be about something else, but I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go to Wilson Chowdhry, who I think is a more valuable use of our time here. Wilson Chowdhry, as a Pakistani Christian, seeing that there are people on the streets who are still not happy with the decision of the Supreme Court, tell me what this means. Does this mean that there is justice, but ... What does that mean?
Well, there are concerns about the level of intolerance in Pakistan, and we believe that stems from the national curriculum, which was cited by the United States Commission for International Religious Freedom in 2013 as being very biased, often caricaturing and demonizing Christians and other minorities, even in some cases going as far as labeling Christians as spies for the West. So with such an education system, especially when over 60% of people in Pakistan, children in Pakistan, will be taught through a madrasa system, it's very easy for violence and anger to be triggered because many of them also are too illiterate to really understand the truth. So they take their calling from an imam who instructs them on what they, on his perceived belief of Islam, and they simply don't have any other counterbalance. And that's what we're finding in Pakistan. We're finding this growing level of intolerance because of a stepped inculcation of hate ideology over generational Pakistanis. And the only way to stem that is obviously to firstly improve that education system, something many Western nations have been trying to do. I mean, Britain funds Pakistan to the extent of 225 million, or 445 million, but 225 million of that £1 million is earmarked for holistic educational reform. Yet these abuses within, or the offence, offences in the national curriculum have still to be eradicated.
What would be your message to Prime Minister Imran Khan? I mean, since Asia Bibi was initially convicted and put on death row, we saw 2 senior government officials assassinated, sort of related to this, under the blasphemy umbrella. We saw people like Mashal Khan killed by lynch mobs, right? Imran Khan has played this kind of balancing act, as Shoaib mentioned earlier on, and this is an interesting test for him. What's your message to him?
Well, firstly, I think he has to, reevaluate the socio-political climate in Pakistan and where these trigger factors occur from. Why is there so much intolerance? I mean, with these blasphemy laws, are they still useful? I don't want to go too religious, but as far as I'm aware, the Quran doesn't actually advocate for blasphemy laws, but more to the point, it's proven that these blasphemy laws are being abused and used for persecution of minorities and for petty jealousies against Muslim people. So I cannot see why there isn't an attempt to try and readdress that balance by reforming those blasphemy laws, whether it be by improved investigation prior to a charge being laid, or perhaps ensuring that those perpetrators who falsely accuse somebody of blasphemy are themselves then taken through the legal process. For instance, these people that have laid these allegations against Asia Bibi, and I'll raise some of the issues with the case. The witness statements from both main witnesses were actually opposed each other in certain areas. Right. They weren't in sync. More to the point, we also had issues about the imam who actually laid the initial allegation against Asia Bibi not even being present at the time of the incident, yet declaring that she had committed the blasphemy. I mean, we could go on about her personal witness testimony where she confessed, but that was under duress. She'd just been beaten up by a whole number of people. Early reports say that the violence was beyond simply a beating, but obviously that will be revealed, I'm sure, once she's fled to another country. We are speaking to the family. I think they do intend to launch a diary about exactly an autobiography about what happened to Asia Bibi. I mean, for me, it's something has to be done about the legal process, the mechanisms by which statutory authorities investigate these crimes, the protections given to minorities per se, and the equality in the country. I mean, it's extremely difficult for Christians to get an adequate level of literacy. 7% of Christians are adequately literate. The majority of them don't go to school for various reasons. 700 Christian girls kidnapped, raped and forced into Islamic marriage every year. That was a report written by Movement of Solidarity and Peace, a Muslim NGO. These aren't statistics made up by Christians. 50% of blasphemy allegations are laid against minorities, 35% of them are from the Ahmadi community. There are 50% that are laid against Muslims, but every blasphemy case that is registered by a Muslim. Christians don't lay them. Other faiths don't. There is a belief that if there is a God, and I do believe in God, I'm sure everyone does, most of you as will, why would he need a human protection of his
what is
reputation?
interesting, certainly. Well, Wilson, I've got to wrap, but what is interesting, and as I was trying to mention to Salman as well, it wasn't that the judges were saying the blasphemy law is wrong. The judges were actually quoting Quran and Hadith and ended the judgment from the Supreme Court as they overturned the guilty verdict by quoting the Prophet Muhammad's Hadith calling for protection of non-Muslim minorities within Muslim majority states. Wilson, I've got to move on, but I hope to have you back on the Newsmakers very soon. Thank you very much for joining us.